In October 2021, Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, the PIF, completed its majority takeover of Newcastle United, bringing Mike Ashley's reign to an end. They soon signalled a long-term target of winning the Premier League. 3 weeks later, LIV Golf was launched, a league intended to rival the famous PGA Tour. They immediately signed several of the world's highest-ranked golf players, promised stacks of prize money, and in the process threw the sport into civil war before a merger between the two was reached. At the World Cup in Qatar, Saudi Arabia humbled eventual winners Argentina 2-1, and then in January Cristiano Ronaldo joined Al Nassr in the Saudi Pro League. All of these are examples of how Saudi Arabia are stepping up their pursuit in sport, and while recently this summer major moves have happened. Saudi Arabia's latest sporting venture, football, was officially announced by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the country's ruler, earlier this month. The plan? Well, an effective relaunch of the nation's premier domestic football competition, involving the sale of the country's 4 largest clubs to the PIF, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund, huge investment in the wider league, and the pursuit of Europe's most famous footballing talents. The announcement was a statement of intent, backed by the highest figures in the Saudi state, with the aim of transforming the Saudi Pro League into one of the top 10 best leagues in the world and tripling its market value. Karim Benzema, the reigning Ballon d'Or winner, has joined. Cristiano Ronaldo, as we mentioned, has joined. Ruben Neves, a player in his prime touted for moves to Barcelona, has joined. Hakim Ziyech, Kalidou Koulibaly, N'Golo Kante, basically the entire Chelsea squad has joined, and there is a lot more to come, I'm sure. So why is this all happening and what are the implications? So in this video we will talk about the motive behind Saudi Arabia's spending spree, and if the Saudi Pro League could cause a genuine threat to European football, or if it will end up being another Chinese Super League. So let's begin with why. Why are Saudi Arabia suddenly splashing record salaries on players? It has kind of come out of the blue, but this spending has actually been planned and is part of a much wider strategy for the country. Now, I'm not going to go too political with this as we are a football channel, but I will briefly mention the reasons politically how football fits in. So Saudi Arabia currently has a plan called Vision 2030. They even have a website you can look at to find out more about this vision, but long story short, basically the strategy aims to achieve the 3 pillars, as they call it, by 2030, of having an ambitious nation, a thriving economy, and a vibrant society. Now, where does football fit into this? Well, if we look at this logically, football essentially helps in all 3 of these 3 pillars. An ambitious nation, well, they've already said they want the Saudi League to become a top 10 league in the world. That's pretty ambitious if you ask me. A thriving economy, well, if you can make football big in Saudi Arabia, then suddenly that will help your economy due to all the revenue incomes associated with a footballing nation. An example of this is in the UK. Premier League football contributed to 7.6 billion to the UK economy during the 2019-20 season. And this wasn't even a full season as it was suspended due to the pandemic. And then a vibrant society, well, that's pretty obvious as football helps bring communities and people together and can help increase the happiness overall of people. Now that's on a basic level. We can see how investing in football helps achieve their aims of Vision 2030, but there's a little bit more to this, because sure, you can invest in football, but why are they investing so much is the real question. Well, firstly, there's the common view of sports washing, which I actually did a video on like ages ago, but a basic principle of sports washing is the idea that if you invest enough into sports, when people think of Saudi Arabia, they think of Cristiano Ronaldo, not people dying from the death penalty. That's definitely a factor here, but I don't think it's the main reason. Another factor for the investment is their population. Now, it's estimated that a staggering 70% of the population in Saudi Arabia is either overweight or obese, which is mental. So again, from a logical point, investing and promoting football heavily will hopefully encourage people to play football, get fitter, having a more vibrant society, but also meaning you spend less on healthcare, helping achieve your thriving economy aim as well. Another major factor is also the age and interests of the population. Saudi Arabia has one of the youngest populations in the world, with an average age of just 31 years old, meaning that these young people are more likely to get involved in sports and enjoy it more. And we can see this with how crazy their population is about football, which is one of the main reasons for the drive. At the World Cup in Qatar, one, because it was in Qatar, but mainly because of the Saudis' love for football, Saudi Arabia actually had the largest number of fans at the tournament. And it's no surprise that when they beat Argentina, their state called it a national holiday to celebrate, and thousands were on the streets celebrating, showing how football crazy these young Saudi fans are. But the main overriding crown jewel reason they are investing so much is for the World Cup. Saudi Arabia are planning a joint bid for the World Cup with Egypt and Greece to host it in 2030. Now you can probably understand why they want to host the World Cup in 2030, as it would be the perfect way to, celebrate the achievements of their Vision 2030. Now, given the scrutiny FIFA face for giving hosting to Russia and Qatar, it's unlikely they will give the hosting to Saudi. Probably just opt for a more traditional, safer option this time. But if Saudi invests heavily in football and show this isn't just a World Cup bid to hide their human rights, and is in fact because they have a genuine interest in football and the Saudi league, they can say to FIFA, this is a genuine league and respected on the global stage, then Saudi might well be able to host a World Cup. So all of those reasons combined, it's pretty clear why they want and are investing heavily into football now. So now we know why, we need to decide, is it sustainable? Is this just a way of helping Saudi get that 2030 bid and nothing more? Or will this be a genuine threat to European football? Now, quite a few people are comparing it to the Chinese Super League, but I think it is slightly different. The reason the Chinese Super League happened was because the president of China ordered it to happen and wanted investment in China and China to have a big, good national team. So, wealthy Chinese businessmen invested in the league, spending money on big names under the orders of the president. But the state did not intervene or invest in the league themselves. So, once these wealthy businessmen eventually ran out of money, mainly due to the pandemic, so did the league, and the league failed. But, as we've established earlier, the Saudi State Capital Fund, the PIF, own 4 of the clubs in the league, and they are going to try and buy and invest more into buying the other clubs. And it's no coincidence that those 4 clubs which the PIF own are the ones that are spending all this money. So, I mean, unless Saudi Arabia as a state run out of money, which obviously won't happen, or the PAF just have other interests, the investment is not going to go away. Now, a problem that I think will limit Saudi, I think there's a few things. One is the rest of Asia. Now, the biggest competition in Asia is the Asian Champions League. But the problem is that this will be so dominated now by Saudi teams that it's not going to be competitive, and people are not going to watch the Asian Champions League, as it's just essentially a Saudi Champions League, and people will continue to watch the European Champions League way more. Another one which I don't think many people are talking about is the coaches. If they can attract top level coaches as well, then that could change the game of football. This is because once those players like Benzema and Ronaldo retire, then this will be the end in a way. So they also need Saudi homegrown players to start developing if they want to have long-term success. So, for example, let's say they don't get some top coaches, they just sign players like Ronaldo, Benzema. Let's imagine you're a young Saudi player playing for Al Nassr. So you're playing and training with Cristiano Ronaldo, which is obviously great. You will learn a lot and develop as a player. But when he goes, then what? Your coach is still a average coach, probably at best. So you will develop more, but you're not going to develop into a top level player, are you? But let's imagine the same scenario, but you've got Jose Mourinho, maybe even Pep Guardiola, Ancelotti as your manager. Now you're around top level players, some of the best ever players in European football. You are training and playing alongside them, and you're getting top level coaching at a young age. So by the time Ronaldo retires, you're going to be fantastic, and you are going to be a fantastic player and potentially develop into a star. And then when that happens, suddenly the Saudi League will be taken extremely seriously, as they will have genuine great talents being produced from the league. They will not just be buying these talents from Europe. And once we have genuine talents being produced in the Saudi League, then more and more players will take this seriously and move to Saudi, and then eventually you have a league now which is extremely competitive with Europe. So for me, the success really depends on if they recruit top coaches, how well they develop their own Saudi players, and also if they start buying players at the age of around 25, because then they have players who are world class in their prime playing in Saudi, which will really boost it. Now personally, I doubt Saudi will challenge Europe in terms of popularity, but if this continues, it will be very close. And even if they don't, it's changed the football landscape, as now basically any top player has the option of Saudi Arabia. So if you're negotiating a new contract or a transfer to another club, you can use that as leverage, and suddenly it's going to become a lot harder for clubs to sign these top players. But also, it's a lot easier now, as we've seen with the likes of Chelsea, to sell unwanted players. So the ultimate question, is this investment good for football? Time will tell. Personally, I feel there's nothing wrong with a bit more competition in football, and I am kind of excited and intrigued to see where this whole Saudi project goes. I doubt it will become a top league soon, but I can definitely see the Saudi League becoming a respectable league like the MLS. As for you guys, well, the majority of you, in a poll I did in a community 54% said it's a retirement home and isn't sustainable. 34% is ruining football, and then the rest of you had more positive views. Now, I don't know if it's ruining football, but it's certainly changing football. For the better or for the worse, that's really up to you to decide. But there we go. That is the Saudi project, I guess, explained my thoughts on the situation. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed and maybe learned a couple of things which you didn't know about the Saudi League. And if you have enjoyed, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in another video. Peace.